Hello, caught me off guard. This is Jim Miller. This is Unlocking Personal Leadership Live, episode number 26. And this is a show where we talk about shifts. We talk about shifts, living your best life. First shift is becoming your best self, working on that every day, a little bit, 1% a day on all these things. Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 66 like me, every every day you can learn something new and you can become more. Just keep working on that. So the first shift is becoming. The second shift is longevity. Learning about your entity, learning about your body, how it works, what it does, how it serves you, how you serve it, how it can help you to prosper and live a wonderful, enjoyable life and have a great experience while you're here. Healthy, energetic, vibrant, loving, beautiful. Longevity. So we talk about that. And uh, we talk about building wealth, building generational wealth as well. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Is a subject that's it's kind of fun. We're going to have some what ifs. We're going to talk about what do you need to build a retirement for yourself. We've got a little calculator here from NerdWallet that we're going to play with a little bit in a minute. But before we get into that, the fourth thing is building an audience. I think everybody should take the time to learn how to build a personal brand and a personal audience. As you're doing that, you're gaining confidence, you're gaining the trust of more people, you're learning about what makes things what matter to people, what your purpose is in life, and how that purpose reflects on the people around you and how you add value. There's so many wonderful aspects to building an audience that you don't see. You think, oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of doing that. I don't want to get out in front of anybody and talk. Well, uh, that's fine, but you're leaving so much on the table if you have that attitude. And I did that for many, many, many years. And I decided back in 2020 that, dang it, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I've been working a little bit every day to get better at building an audience. And it's not easy. Nobody said it was, but the personal growth and the ability for you to communicate, I think, will be enhanced, and you'll serve a higher level purpose in the world. Talking does You don't have to do it for anybody else. You just do it for yourself. Keep it on the down low. You don't have to spend a bunch of money doing anything. You just start talking, or you write, or do something. Build an audience. Something that your heart says, this is, I'm passionate about this, and this is something that I want to learn more about, communicate with others, and teach or explain or become and do. So that's the part about building an audience for me. And then the fifth thing, and I think this is the most important shift for me, has been community service and volunteering out in your local community, taking time every week, an hour, even if it's just an hour or two every week, to do something for a nonprofit organization or volunteer somewhere for free. Just do it, and just don't worry about what you're going to get back. Just give of your time, give your talent, give your expertise to some organization or some person who would benefit from you doing that, and ask for nothing in return. Don't expect anything in return. Don't ask for anything in return. Don't take anything in return. Just give. And I tell you what, when you do it with that heart and that sole purpose of just giving, you get so much back. I can't explain it. And I can't tell you how good it feels. but it feels really good. So I encourage everybody, take time every week to volunteer, do something in your local community where people that you see every day, people around you that live around you in your environment. Take the time. So that's the fifth thing. So today I want to do a little bit of have a little fun with a calculator, and I pulled it up here on my desktop, and it's from NerdWallet. It's called a retirement calculator, and it's a free estimator of how much you're gonna need when you retire. I wish I had this when I was 20 something. It's like, okay, well, what am I doing? And here's what kind of I did. I was employed. I was putting money into the 401k, and everybody was telling me, "Yep, that's the right thing to do, buddy. You got it. You're doing the right thing." And then the company's going to match half of that or whatever the number is, and you're going to be able to build that 401k up to a point where you're going to be able to retire in Fat City, and you're going to have no worries at all. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that when you start looking at the actual details. As I say, you gotta look at the details. So this is for fun. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an expert. I'm just doing this for fun tonight. And so if you have a need, my wish for you is that this may spark or inspire you to go talk to an actual expert and get an actual plan together for yourself, so you know exactly how you want to live when you retire, what age you want to retire, how much money you're going to need, how long you're going to live after you retire, how healthy you're going to be during your retirement years. What do you want to do? When they sold the 401k idea to me, it was all about, well, you're going to take the money out. It's going to be, you're going to be taxed on it, but you're going to have a lower income level, and you're going to have a lower lifestyle. So everything's going to be fine. And you're going to get taxed on it, but you're going to be at a lower tax bracket. So they won't take as much out as they would now. And it's like, I was like just going with the program. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I just worked, and built that up. And I got it up to quite a bit of money, but then ran into some issues, had to pull some out, and my retirement income just vaporized. And it goes really, really fast. So my heart is to communicate this to people and share my experience to give you an opportunity. If you're just doing what I did, work, and not really looking at this seriously, that time goes by. You think, oh, I'm 20, I've got 40 years before I retire. I'm 30, I got 30 more years before I retire. I'm 40, I got 20 more years before I retire. And I got money in the bank, and I got a house that's got equity in it. And I've got, well, let me tell you what, if you're not planning if you have kids going to college, inflation, investments that go bad, politics, everything that's going on in the world, nobody else is going to take care of you. Social Security, yeah, but I tell you, if you to live on Social Security it's okay. It's okay. You'll be okay. But is it what you want? And you don't have to have that. Social Security, you get between $2,200 and maybe $2,800 a month to live on. And that's it. So, and you get Medicare, so you get your Medicare medical paid for, and they got some nice benefits. So, it's not a bad deal, really, but it's not the life that you could have if you plan and you execute and you become, you think about all these things, longevity, think about building an audience, think about creating generational wealth. If you're planning to build generational wealth and you're executing on that plan when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you won't have to live on Social Security. The numbers are astounding. How many people are not saving, or how many people started saving and they lost their job or their business folded and they had to go into their savings, or they took a loan on their house and their business folded, and so they're left with, debt and no house and medical expenses, and they have to file bankruptcy. Happens a lot. So because they're not insured properly, they're not taking care of their cash flow, and they're really, life happens, and there's things that happen in life that you don't plan for, and unless you're planning and have contingencies in place, the odds are against you to make it whole to your plan. And that's that's what happened to me. So when we look at this calculator, it's like, okay, let's take a look at a quick scenario. Current age, 30 years old, and let's see, you're making now $80,000. Your pre-tax income is $80,000, and you've been putting some money away. You've got $50,000 so far in your 401k retirement savings, and your monthly contribution it's a reasonable $34, and maybe your company's matching half of that, so you're getting about what, 50 grand or $50 a month you're putting in. So let's just put that in there, $50. Okay. So, and so there you go. And you look at this graph and it says, okay, well, right now you're 30 years old right here. And by the time your retirement age, you're going to have 364,000. See, retire at 65, you're going to have $364,629 in your savings to retire on. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But that's not the whole picture. The next step to look at is, what's your budget? How much are you going to live on when you're in retirement? How much money do you need to spend to live? If you're going to live on Social Security, you're going to make, I don't know, around $2,500 a month. So what's 2,500? 2,500 times 12 is $30,000 a year. So if you live on $2,500 a month, your annual spend is $30,000 a year. So how long will that last for you? Well, let's take a look. So we're going to put monthly budget in retirement. We'll put $2,500. Whoa, what happened? So what that graph is telling us now is that we got cattywampus. We started taking money out of the retirement plan. So see what you're building here, you're building. And when you get to retirement at age 66, that's me, 66. And my current path, in order to take out $2,500 a month, I needed to have being put away a lot more money. I'm behind $1,500 or $1.5 million. What? Yeah, I'm behind $1.5 million. Okay, wait a minute. I'm making 80 grand. I've got 50,000 in savings. I'm putting in $50 a month, and I'm only going to take out $2,500 when I'm for retirement income a month. And you're telling me I'm going to need, and this is at my life expectancy is to age 95. My pre-retirement rate of return, that's 5%. So the investments that I'm $50 a month, and every month that's a 5% return. I've got that set up. And then my post-retirement rate of return is the same at 5%. I've got an inflation rate right now. It's at 3.1%. Earlier, it was at over 7%. It's come down quite a bit. So 3.1%. So I put 3%. And then the annual income increase that you're going to get here from your job, I figured 2%. So, that's all calculated in here. And it's, I think, pretty reasonable. The average income for a 30 something person is about 68,000, I think it said. So I gave you a little bonus. And let's say even if you had saved 100,000, what happens? If you have at age 30, you've got 100,000 in the bank already, and you're putting, even, let's go whole hog and put, say, 500 a month in there. Okay, so say we're putting age 30, making 80 grand a year. You've done well. You put 100 grand into savings, and you're contributing $500. You and your employer are putting $500 a month into your 401k. Okay, and so now you've got a monthly budget. What are you gonna take out when you retire? How much do you want to live on? Well, let's see. If we're at 2,500. So let's play with that. If we want to, for me, I want to live on, I want to vacation a little bit. I want to travel. I want to live in, a decent place. I want insurance. I want to be able to drive. I want to go out to eat once in a while. I want to go to movies. I want to go to plays. I want to have fun. I want to play golf. I want to do things that I didn't do when I was working so hard. So I think, setting up my plan for, say, 5,000 a month. Oh, back here at 2,500, let's look at that again. So at 2,500 a month, I was starting to get pretty close. When I added 30 years old, 80 grand, put 100 grand in savings, I'm putting 500 a month away at 5%. And so that's looking pretty good. I'm taking out. So let's put this back at zero again. What we're taking out. A fat city. We're going to make 6.4, about $6 million. We're going to have 5.8 million on the current path we're going to be putting away by the time we're 95. By the time we're 79, 60, 66, 65. Okay, we're going to have 1.4 million in the bank. Fat city. And if we don't take any money out, that'll continue to grow. But that's not reality. So we're going to take something out in the month. So what I want to do is take 5,000. We'll put 5,000 a month in there. Whoop! That graph just went cattywampus. The green part is what you got to work with. The blue line up top is what you need. So what you need is almost 4 million, and you're on track to make 1.4. So you're behind 2.4 million with this scenario. How are you going to make up that difference? And what happens if you lose your job and you can't put 500 a month in, or the inflation goes up, or your money, the rate of return you get goes down? 5% is pretty good, but that could go down. It's been down around 1 or 2%. It's up at 5 now, but for a long time it was down around 1 or 2. So, let's take a look at that. If you went down, you did this and you said, okay, pre-retirement rate of return, you did, say, 2%. What's that look like? Whoa. You still need almost 4 million, but you're only going to, instead of 1.4 million, you're going to make 660,000, 661. Ouch. So, hey, if you're 30, in your 30s, you're 30 something, and this is what's happening to you, you need a plan. and you want 5,000, okay, with this scenario, what would you be able to live on? Let's take a look. What would you really be able to use? Okay, 549, your upside. It's about 1,000 a month. Yeah, not even. So if you got to bring in, you'll be able to burn if you retire at age 65, or not even that, at age 66, you retire with 660,000 and you use $842 a month of that, you'll be okay. So what that means, say you had you had Social Security, and then you got another $842 from your retirement, and you had $660,000 in there when you retired. Okay, so you got about what, $3,200 a month to spend, $3,300 a month to spend. But then you've got to pay taxes because this is a 401k, and you put that into the 401k pre-tax. So then you've got to pay tax on that. I don't know what the tax structure is, and admittedly, it's not as much as if you're making 80,000 a year, your tax bracket, but you won't have the write-offs. You won't have the write-offs against it. Right now, you probably got a house, and you're writing stuff off, and you've got investments, and you've got business interests, and you're writing things off on your expenses. So your effective tax rate is probably not that much. So what's the difference? Well, cash flow. When you retire, it's going to be imagine living on $3,200-$3,300 a month right now. Could you do it? Let's see, at 80 grand, let's take a look. $80,000, and then you take about 70% of that. So times 0.7 equals $5,600 a month. So that's after tax, approximately. So you're right now at 80,000. You're living on 5,600 a month. Could you realistically? You'd have to sell your house, your car. You wouldn't be able to take vacations. You'd go from 5,600 to 3,300. That's $2,000 plus a month that you wouldn't have to be able to spend, and might be a tough thing to do. You could do it, but would it be fun? Would it be what you want? Don't know. So these are decisions to start making now. And building generational wealth is an idea that in today's world, it's, I think, crazy not to do something. Build your audience and come up with ways. There's tons of ways to build passive and residual income streams. And I'm doing that right now. So it doesn't take age. It just takes a desire. It takes a willingness to put the effort out to become and do and be. And putting together residual and passive income streams will pay you while you're sleeping. If you lose your job, they can take care of you. Those income streams can pay for your insurance. They can pay for your house payment. They can pay for any medical bills that you've got. They can pay down or pay off your credit cards. That's another thing. This doesn't calculate in. Most people have debt. They have credit card debt, and they're paying somewhere between 16 and 28% APR for that, annual percentage rate. And that debt service on those credit cards, you've got the principal and the interest that you're paying. And if you're not paying those down every month, your credit rating goes down. So your ability to borrow money for business or for other reasons goes away, or gets more expensive. And it just becomes, you get tighter and tighter and tighter. You get this little ball, and it's like and if you have to file bankruptcy, and it happens, basically what you're doing is you're putting yourself into a financial timeout. You're just putting that pointed cap on your head and going and sitting in the corner for a while. And you get a chance to think And and while you're doing that, you've lost time. And time is really your most valuable asset here, especially with your finances. When you're dealing with your retirement, time is a critical factor. So let's take a quick look at what happens when you get older. So right now we're talking about a 30 something. Let's use the same scenario. We'll adjust some of the numbers for a 40 something. So here's say 40 years old, 10 years later. So let's look at this. At 30, the numbers look like this. They're pretty tight. But if you've got the same scenario and you're 40 years old, and you want to retire at the same time, you're behind the 8 ball big time. Now, granted, by 40, maybe you're making 120,000. Okay, so now you're back at Fat City again, and maybe your retirement savings has gone up to, I don't know, let's say you've done a really good job. You've got it at 200. So there you go. And you're Fat City. By the time you want to retire, you've got you're putting away $643,000. Pretty good. And your monthly contribution, let's say you've really done well. You maybe put $1,000 in there. Okay. So we're back to it again. How much do you want to be able to live on when you retire? What's your monthly? Well, let's take a look at 120,000 a year, 120,000 times 0.7. Take the taxes out. So you've got actually to spend $84,000 a year divided by 12. That's $7,000 a month. So you got $7,000 a month that you're living on now, and you're probably got a nice car. You're taking some vacations. You got a decent, you've upgraded your house, and your kids are getting their mid-teens, and you want to travel. You go to Disneyland, you go vacations, you're putting money on the credit card thinking, I'm Fat City. I got money coming in. I got money going into retirement. I want to enjoy my life. I'm going to have some fun. And your credit card comes up, then all of a sudden you lose maybe your spouse loses their job for a few months. So you get behind. And so you have to borrow some money, or you stop putting money into your retirement, or you get sick and you can't work. Things happen. So what do you do if you don't have money coming in, residual, you don't have protection, insurance, trusts in place? You're exposing yourself to potential losses that you unless you understand what you're doing and you've studied it and you know that it's a risk, it can smack you upside the head and drive you into places you don't want to go. So take the time to look at this. That's my soapbox. Take the time to look at this. Talk to people who have been there and have done these things ahead of you. Those older folks, the ones with some of that gray hair that have been and experienced these things. Listen to them. Find somebody that you really trust. Don't just talk to anybody, but find somebody that you really trust and get their buy-in on what your plan is, and see what you're doing, if you're on the right path. So 120 grand, you've got 200 grand in savings. You're contributing $1,000 between you and your employer. And you're Fat City. You're putting together a really nice portfolio at this, age 66. You're at $883,000 you've saved. So not bad. Fat City. Okay, so what do you want to take in the monthly budget? Right now you're living on $7,000. So let's cut that in half. $3,500. Woo! Wow. You're just going to take half of what you're making now, or what you're taking home now to spend, and you're gonna end up in the hole, $1.1 million in the hole. You're not going to be able to live past age 77. So you're going to have a 10-year retirement and you're going to run out of money. What do you do? That's a bad day. That's a bad day right there. That's a bad day. Oh crap. I got $3,500. Well, even at that, so 3,500. Then you've got Social Security. Social Security, you can take. I don't think you can take 3,500 and Social Security. I think you're going to end up paying taxes on that quite a bit. So, or you may be disallowed from receiving Social Security when you're making that much on your retirement. So you need to look at that. These are important things to look at. Talk to an expert. Find out what the real stories are, so you can plan and take into account all the different variables. And the important thing is to really have a clear picture of how you want to live when you retire. What it's going to cost, where you're going to go, how much you're going to spend, because you're not going to have the income coming in anymore from your job. You're going to have tons of time to do whatever you want. But if you don't have the money, it's going to suck. You don't want a sucky retirement. So take a look at this, find out what you need. And I'll bet you that if you had a passive or residual income stream or 2 or 3 or 4 coming in now, that this whole picture would look so much different and so much better for you and your family. And you'd be in a position to be able to create that generational wealth, so you can pass that wealth down to them through real estate holdings, through business holdings, through trusts and estates. And you can set those up. They're not that difficult to do. It just takes knowledge and the right people to surround yourself with that have those experiences and can do it right for you. And you can do what the wealthy do, even if you're not wealthy. There's no law against setting yourself up properly for, to be able to pass on your wealth to your heirs in a tax advantaged way. Not tax-free necessarily, but tax advantaged, or tax advantage. Just use the smarts, use the laws that are already there to your advantage. That's it. So $3,500 a month. In order for this to work, what are you going to need to take? Let's see. If you have this scenario and you want to live till age 95, how much could you take out? 530. You can do more than that. You do more than that. There you go. It's about $1,600 a month that you'll be able to spend. After all that work, you put all that money aside, and it's getting 5% interest. Oh, I put it back down at 3, so 2%. Let's put that back at 5%. So let's play with this. 25. That'd be nice. 5%. Okay, so what's that look like? Ooh, not bad. So 5%. Say you've done really well, and the interest rates that you're getting on your pre-retirement investments is coming up at averaging 5% per year. So let's see what we got. We can take out about $2,600 a month. Okay, so you'll be able to live to age 95 on $2,688 a month. Not bad, but is that what you want? I don't know. There's something you got to look at. Something for you to consider. So I think we could take a look at a 50-something. That starts to get hairy. So, because at 50, you could be making, I don't know, if you're doing really well, you could be making $175,000. So let's put you at $175,000, and you've accumulated, let's say you've done really well, $500,000 that you've been able to put aside in your retirement account. And your monthly contribution, that's gone up to maybe You tripled it, $3,000. Okay, so this is a good scenario. This is probably less than 5% of the population can do this, but let's just take a look. 175 grand. So that means what are you taking home a month? 175,000, and we'll take times 0.7. So you're taking home 122,000 divided by 12. That's about $10,000 a month that you're bringing home right now. So you've got a really nice house, you've got a nice car, you're taking great vacations, you're going to the best restaurants, you're buying fine wine, you're smoking great cigars, and you're having fun with life. And your kids are going to Ivy League schools, getting messed up, and then you're scuba diving, you're flying, you've hired coaches and trainers, and you're spending tons of money, but you're having a great time and you're making a good profit. You're putting money aside every month. You've got a good savings going. Okay, with all that done, and you've done a good job of putting all that away and creating a good retirement for yourself at age 65, 67, you've put $2.3 million aside for your retirement. Okay. So but you've gotten used to a $10,000 a month lifestyle. So what are you going to do in retirement? Are you going to stay there? You going to be able to do that with this? Well, let's take a look at what you can spend a month. Now with this, when you retire and you have no income anymore. So where does it go? 4,700, about 5,300. So your income is going to be cut in half at retirement. So you gotta sell your airplane, you gotta sell your Beamer and your Mercedes, and you gotta sell the house and all that stuff. It's guys just gotta divest it all, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But if it's not what you want to do, then this is a bad plan for you. And if you, again, even when you're 50, if you want to make more and you want to change this scenario, let's see what you'd need to live if you wanted to keep spending that 10 grand a month. Let's put that up there. So that target now for the monthly contribution, that goes up to $9,000, $8,800 a month. You got to put aside for that to work at same retirement. So in order for you to live the way you're living now at this income with this savings, you've got to be putting aside almost as much as you're bringing home, $8,800 a month. It just doesn't, I don't know of anybody that could do that. I mean, you're living on about $1,200 a month. Nope. So that scenario just wouldn't work for anybody. So what does it mean if you had an additional, $5,000 a month coming in, that when you're age 50 and you had an additional $5,000 a month coming in from passive and residual income streams? That could do it. That means you could put that money into your retirement and get yourself up to 4.2 million, 4.3 million in your retirement savings at 5%. And then you could let go and you could live on $10,000 a month. Wow. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Seems pretty simple, and actually it is. It's actually fun, but getting your body set up with the right tools and the right knowledge so that you're going to live a strong, healthy, energetic life and not be in a wheelchair by the time you're 65. And understand that you're going to live till 95. You're going to be healthy and vibrant. You're going to want to do things. You want to be out and about. You want to be meeting people, moving and shaking still. You're not going to stop. So don't. Plan for it. Make more money now. Put it aside. Be smart. That's my podcast for today. Love to hear your comments. If anybody has any thoughts, ideas, if you're interested in learning more about passive or residual income streams, let me know. I'll share with you what I know. And hope you have an awesome evening. And I'm going to sign off until Monday. See ya. Bye.